Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And today, well, let's just say it's Monday Fun Day.
I stop what you're doing, cause I'm about to ruin the image of me that you're used to. I look money, a king bee making honey, see? Deep state, I hope you're ready for me. Now gather round, I'm the new sheriff in town. All my people rise up and stand your ground. Now drink up all the Diet Coke you got on your shelf. So just let me introduce myself. My name is Trump D. I like my mashed potatoes lumpy. Fake news, oh how I like to punk thee. That little sniper on the slow tin. He took a shot but he missed me. I don't fall, y'all, I'm like the ever ready bunny. Still going strong and spunky. So put on your big boy pants. Come on, let's do the dance.
The Trumpy dance is your chance to do the Trump.
Come on, do the Trumpty Trump. Come on and do the Trumpty Trump. Check me out, y'all. We do the Trumpty Trump. Just watch me do the Trumpty Trump. Yeah. Do you know what I'm doing? We do the Trumpty Trump. Come on, everybody do the Trumpty Trump. It's time to do the Trumpty Trump. Yeah.
That's right, folks. We are doing the Trumpty Trump because, well, things just seem to be happening once again, winning as usual in the United States of America. You know, one of the things that I want to point out here is, you know, and I get it. Some of y'all out there, y'all think, well, because we support what Trump does, well, we must all be part of the MAGA cult. Well, first of all, let's just be clear. There is a difference. I'm a conservative. I don't consider myself to be MAGA. I consider myself to be a conservative. And conservatism has been around a lot longer than MAGA has. But there are a lot of things that MAGA believes that are consistent with conservative values, that are consistent with conservative principles. And there's a lot of things that Trump has done, quite frankly, that once again are consistent with, once again, being a conservative. So when Donald Trump does well, I celebrate. When Donald Trump messes up, in my opinion, I make my voice known. If you've been paying attention to this program for any length of time, you know that I'm gonna do that. I call balls and strikes, and well, Donald Trump keeps hitting home runs, and if he's gonna keep hitting home runs, I'm just calling the game. So I gotta point it out, and Donald Trump is hitting home runs. Y'all don't have to like it, but it is the way that it is, and we are going to be here. And when he does hit a home run, trust me, it's because he's hitting a home run for America. Not because he's hitting a home run for Donald Trump. He's hitting home runs for America, and that's why I celebrate. That's why we celebrate here on this program. Having said that, Mike is not able to be here today, but that's okay. You're here. I'm here. We're going to have a great conversation talking about, well, some fun stuff that took place during the, I won't say fun stuff. Let me clarify. War is never fun. But some interesting stuff that took place over the weekend. How about that? How about we talk about that? Anyway, that having been said, let's go ahead and kick this off the way we usually do with a quick shout out to our sponsors. We're going to start with the folks over at Hitman Industries. They make rifle and pistol caliber barrels. They are available to purchase at any length. All you have to do is go to hitmanindustries.net. If you've purchased an AR in the last few years, there's a good chance you already have one of their barrels. So why don't you check them out again today? Whether you're looking to rebarrel your old rifle or do a brand new build, start your experience, start your journey, start your project over at hitmanindustries.net. Then we've got the folks over at the California Republican Assembly working to help elect conservatives at all levels of government, from school board all the way up to President of the United States. Ronald Reagan once referred to the CRA as the conscience of the Republican Party. You need to find out why. How do you do that? Visit the website, cragop.org. That's cragop.org. Go there, check them out. Let me tell you something. If you want to be a part of California's future today, which by the way affects which by the way affects the entire USA, then you got to join CRA. Then there's the best in concealed carry tactical holsters available on the market. You will find them at hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com. Why is it spelled that way? Because they like helping Americans wear guns. Visit their website, hogholsters.com. Make sure you use the discount code The Rundown. All one word, all caps, no spaces, just like it is right up there. You're going to get your hog holster on discount. See, they make it easy, helping Americans wear guns. And then finally, if you will work with a group, if you are a part of a club, if you are maybe the buying agent for your unit or whatever, you need to check out uscombatgear.com. They specialize in discount sales on tactical gear. right? Whether you're looking for boots, whether you're looking for backpacks, whether you're looking for hats, whether you're looking for eyes, whatever you're looking for, trust me, they have all things tactical except the gun at uscombatgear.com. Also, want to remind you, if you're watching this program live, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, know that you're watching this program live, which means we're taking your comments. I'm looking right over here, and I'm checking out what you have to say. And if I find it to be interesting, I will go ahead and share it. Now, you do not have to agree with us. Let me be very clear. In fact, it's almost better if you disagree with us, because then it gives us the opportunity to mock you.
Oh, wow. Is that a mockingbird?
Man, is that a mockingbird? Is that a mockingbird?
That's right. The official bird of Florida is the mockingbird. And, that's kind of what we do here when we have the opportunity to make fun of you. Why? Because it's fun. And, when I say fun, mostly fun for me. But anyway, we're going to have a good old time taking your comments. So if you got something to say, go ahead and give us a shout out. Let us know where you're watching the program from. Let us know what you think about the topics of the day. And obviously, well, you know what we're going to be talking about today, right? That's right. We're going to be talking about Operation Epic Fury. And we are currently in day 3 of Operation Epic Fury, and it is going phenomenal. In fact, this was a message that was originally sent out by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, and I think he lays out very clearly what the goals, what the intentions are, and this is just a small segment of what he had to say.
The mission of Operation Epic Fury is laser focused. Destroy Iranian offensive missiles, destroy Iranian missile production, destroy their navy and other security infrastructure, and they will never have nuclear weapons. We're hitting them surgically, overwhelmingly, and unapologetically. With every passing day, our capabilities get stronger and Iran's get weaker. We set the terms of this war from start to finish. Our ambitions are not utopian. They are realistic, scoped to our interests and the defense of our people and our allies. Speaking of people, we hope the Iranian people take advantage of this incredible opportunity. President Trump has been clear, now is your time. To Iranian security forces, choose wisely. President Trump has also been clear about your fate in either direction. To the media outlets and political left screaming endless wars, stop. This is not Iraq. This is not endless. I was there for both. Our generation knows better, and so does this president. He called the last 20 years of nation-building wars dumb, and he's right. This is the opposite. This operation is a clear, devastating, decisive mission. Destroy the missile threat, destroy the Navy, no nukes.
And that's really kind of simple. I mean, so what you're hearing when you hear objections, whether it's from the left or from the right, he addressed it all there in literally, I think it was less than a minute and 40 seconds. Number one, this is not about regime change. Doesn't mean that there might not be regime change, right? I think that's something that's important to point out. In fact, I think Hegseth even goes on to talk a little bit about that, to say, to in this thing, to point to the fact that this is not really about regime change, but hey, you know what? If it happens.
Turns out the regime who chanted death to America and death to Israel was gifted death from America and death from Israel. This is not a so-called regime change war, but the regime sure did change, and the world is better off for it.
And I think, once again, that's the important part. In other words, in the first clip that I played, he talked about this, not the wars about nation building. And here's there's a couple of issues with the whole concept of nation building. Different nations are largely found in different parts of the world, have established different values, right? There's a reason why the United States has been so successful. Not just the fact that we have access to resources and 2 major oceans and all of that, but there is a culture that has arisen out of America, one of individual rights, one of individual responsibility, one of rugged individualism, one might call. one might say. The idea of free market economy, once again, rose out of it began in Europe, but it really took off in the West. It really took off in the United States of America. And that's the reason why you may see things play. There's a reason why Mexico, even though it has access to the same two oceans that the United States does, even though it has access to many of the same resources that the United States does, why it has not been successful, because they have a different culture there, right? They have a different culture that values different things. And what he's pointing out here is so the idea of taking a constitutional republic and sending that to a country, to a nation, to a part of the world, or forcing that upon a part of the world that has very different values. And one can say that the Middle East in particular, the Middle East, where it is largely Muslim, they have a different set of values. The Muslim faith does not have an issue with a theocracy, whereas in Christianity, in the West, we don't believe in theocracy. We do believe that our Christian values, or our Judeo-Christian values, should affect our decisions governmentally, but we do not believe the church and the state should be the same thing. So what happens is every time we've tried to, whether it was in Iraq or in Afghanistan, every time we've tried to institute a constitutional republic there, when given democratically elected representatives, they've chosen the theocracy. They've chosen to put in the religious, the ultra religious. They've basically chosen theocracy. It just kind of is the direction that it goes. So in other words, if we are doing quote unquote America first, then we need to focus on America first and the things that make America make sure we're instituting America first. And in this particular case, some people want to say, well, we're going for a regime change. No, we're not trying to change regimes. We're just saying you no longer get to just stand there and scream and holler death to America and create nuclear programs and create ballistic missile programs and demonstrate and fund actors, other entities to act on your behalf, to attack America and to attack our allies. We're not going to just allow you to do that anymore. If you decide to do that, we are going to kill you. And then whoever takes over is going to know if they're going to continue the same stuff, they can expect to reap the same consequences. And so I think it's very clear. And by the way, Trump's numbers are actually, okay, here's the thing. Well, no, actually, let me go. Trump's numbers on this, people are really kind of mixed. And I think because at least because there really wasn't a whole lot of discussion before this happened about it, I think a lot of people think this is about regime change, and they're concerned that we're going to be getting into another long protracted war like we did with Iraq and like we did with Afghanistan. But I think all of the messaging that is coming out now is very, very clear that is not, in fact, the case. But I can tell you this. There are many, many folks from all around the world, Iranians from all around the world, who are, in fact, celebrating today. And not just celebrating what happened, but they're celebrating the person who helped make it happen.
Today, we all coming from all around the world. We just have one thing to say. We want to have making Iran great again. And we all coming from all different parts of Europe. We are coming from Sweden, for example. But this is what we want. We want our Pahlavi, our Shah, our king back.
So for those of you who are actually just listening to the program, these were people chanting in celebration. They were chanting support for Donald Trump for doing this. These are people, and you can hear just tons of people who have been really kind of testifying. It's all over social media, and they're basically just saying, "Look, we remember the graves." And for people who take issue with what Donald Trump has done, or they don't understand. It's like the regime that is now gone, the people that are now dead, were responsible for the deaths of thousands, tens of thousands, if not, I don't want to say they were responsible for the deaths of a lot of people who, in many cases, for no other reason, just wanted freedom. They wanted to have a say in their own governance, and these folks are let's just say that they're happy to see what's going on. They're quite happy to see what's going on. Anyway, let's give it a little bit of an update as to what is going on here. What is going on there? So here it says Operation Epic Fury, Day 3, the latest news from Iran and the Middle East. It says the military operation against Iran has entered its third day with strikes against targets inside Iran and interceptions of Iranian aircraft, missiles, and drones attempting to land blows across the Middle East and Eastern Mediterranean ongoing. All right, here's at 5 p.m. It says U.S. State Department has urged American citizens to evacuate from countries Bahrain, Egypt, Iran, Iraq, Israel, and the West Bank and Gaza, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Syria, United Arab Emirates, Yemen, amid ongoing conflict between Islamic regime in Iran. And basically what's happening is they're firing missiles into all of these countries right here, all of the countries that are listed right here. They're firing missiles at them because their missiles won't reach us. So they're going after our allies, which is really kind of interesting because as they go after these folks, all that they're doing is in many of these cases, these are countries that were neutral, and they're not neutral anymore. They've decided that they're now on our side. Anyway, so there's tons of updates here, tons of stuff that's going on. Pretty much almost all of Iranian leadership, the old guard, shall we say, has been dead. And these are literally been in, calling them pinprick just does not do them justice. They have been very, very strategic. They have been very, very, the overall collateral damage has been minimal, although there has been collateral damage. Yes, innocent people have died. Yes, there have been American soldiers who have died. To my count so far, the last I heard, the number was 6 American soldiers had died. And unfortunately, in war there are casualties. But as was pointed out, this in the end, this will make both the Middle East, this will make many parts of Europe, as well as the United States itself, a more safe place. This will be a more safe world when these folks know and understand we are not playing with you. If you threaten us and you demonstrate that you are attempting to build the capacity to follow through on those threats, you will pay the price. And now hopefully the new state actors there in Iran, whoever takes over, hopefully they will be smarter. Hopefully they will decide, you know what, maybe I don't want to mess with the United States of America. Maybe I will stop screaming death to America at the top of my lungs. In which case they're probably just going to leave that to American liberals to do, because that really kind of tends to be their thing. But one of the things that is kind of frustrating is watching American media, right? In many cases, a lot of the American mainstream media, they don't want to talk about how popular this is. In fact, there's a report out of Austin, Texas, of a reporter who, well, let's just say CBS sent him a message telling him to downplay the pro-Trump rallies, the pro-Trump folks that are taking place or that are participating in these rallies. And it appears that he was having none of it.
What does that mean? It means they don't want us to focus on this. All right. Well, I am.
You hear that in the background. Thank you, Trump. Thank you, Trump. So in other words, here, this is being reported by the California Post. CBS Austin reporter brushes off directive to downplay pro-Trump rally after Iran strikes. Quote, they don't want us to focus on this. CBS Austin reporter has been was seen on a Facebook live stream appearing to get a directive from a superior to steer away from pro-Israel, pro-U.S., pro-Trump protests behind him, and then refusing to go along with the instruction on camera. Vinny Martorano was outside the Texas Capitol on Saturday covering dual demonstrations in the wake of U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran when a crew member handed him a phone with a message from an unnamed boss. After reading the screen, the reporter asked out, "What does this mean?" I think you guys heard that. It says off screen, staffer says it means they don't want us to focus on this. Well, I am. Martorano shot back. I want to make sure we get his name right because this is a good reporter. Martorano shot back, continuing his coverage. Sinclair Broadcasting Group, which owns CBS Austin, insisted Martorano had not been instructed to avoid certain perspectives. Quote, station management directed the crew to follow our standard protest and rally safety and coverage guidelines, remain on the perimeter, gather necessary content, complete the live shot, and move to a safe location. A Sinclair spokesperson told the Post in an email, quote, there was no directive to avoid or de-emphasize any particular perspective, the spokesman added. The guidance was focused on safety, logistics, and ensuring comprehensive coverage on a rapidly evolving situation. The safety of our teams is priority. The moment was clipped down by roughly 35 seconds and quickly went viral as it got reshared by conservative social media accounts. The exchange was seen as evidence that the media is trying to bury the show of support for President Trump and the military action. Now, we saw it. I saw it. You saw it. Unless what the staff person told him was completely and utterly off, unless it was completely and utterly wrong, I think CBS or Sinclair Broadcasting is lying. Maybe it's just me, but it seems like they're trying to cover their butts. And they realize now that they should not have sent that message. And unfortunately, let's just be honest, media has a perspective. People in the media have a perspective. And they want you to believe that they are non-biased. And my whole thing is this. If you want to have a perspective, at least be honest about it. Don't lie. Don't come out and pretend. Be real about it. I'll tell you in a minute. Look, 2A News and conservative views. This is not a non-biased media source. If you're watching this, just in case you're wondering, yeah, I got a view. I got a perspective. Yes, Mike Pilwarski has a perspective. And our perspective tends to be center-right. Heck, we even have different perspectives sometimes. You guys have seen this. Me and Mike have gone out and talked about it. We've talked about different stuff. But the idea is that we're honest about it, right? We're honest telling you what it is that we think, what it is that we're trying to do, what it is that we're trying to communicate. Mainstream media, or in this case, CBS News, not so much. Want to give a shout out to Angel Williams and Carrie Anderson, both watching from Sacramento, California. Angel, thank you so much. We very much appreciate you tuning in. Same thing, Carrie. I'm starting to think, Carrie, you're becoming a bit of a regular, maybe? I know I've seen you on here before. Carrie was the one you might remember who sent me the video that we shared from the protest, the high school protest that took place here in Sacramento, California, specifically from the folks, the kids over at Rio Linda High School. So, yeah, so this is she hopefully Carrie is encouraging her friends to tune in as well. Anyway, but yeah, no, it's what's important for people to Oh, she says maybe. All right, Carrie, whatever. I'm gonna tell your husband on you. That's what I'm gonna do. Like he's gonna do anything. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I like Aaron. Aaron's my dog. Anyway, it's important that as we look into these it's important that as we look into these issues, once again, that we understand when we're reading these reports, it's important. It's important that we make very, very clear that they have biases, that they're not going to give you the whole truth. And just so you know, whether it's Fox News or it's OAN or it's Newsmax, they're going to give you a perspective as well. So you got to be willing to go to different sources. You got to read the California Post or the New York Post. You got to read the Washington Free Beacon. You got to watch a little bit of MS Now. You got to watch a little bit of LA Times, read the LA Times. You just get in a little bit just so that you understand the perspective. Because here's the thing, folks. There are two sides, two different stories about what is going on in America that's being told right now. There's two. And one group of people is flat out lying. And that's the left. That's the mainstream media. The other has a perspective. Most definitely have a perspective. So you kind of have to balance that with what you see from the other side. Once again, you know that they're lying, but you need to understand, so when you're talking with somebody else out there, somebody who maybe isn't as informed as you, maybe isn't looking at the main, just beyond the mainstream media, you need to understand all different sides. You need to know what they're hearing. You know what they're hearing, so you know how to counter it when you're having your discussions. And yeah, Carrie points out, yeah, you can have 5 different perspectives from 5 different sources. And that's just the truth. I hate to say it, it's the truth. But what I have found is that when I look at all 5 sources, generally there's some common threads. And I can generally use those common threads as a foundation to build, to discover exactly what the truth is. Anyway. Hey, we got Kevin Sona from 2A Freedom Fest. He's tuning in. He's like, 100%, Craig, your always honest opinions. Yeah, my opinions are always honest. I always try to make sure that they are informed. I try to make sure that they are properly informed. I can't say that on every occasion, I have been correct. But when I have been wrong, I also come on the show and I make it a point to point out when I was wrong. I got no problem owning my stuff. None whatsoever. It says here, Kevin says, being biased doesn't mean you won't hear different opinions and views. Look at 2A Freedom Fest and the conversations that happened around the camp. We hear countless views. Yeah, because what was interesting about 2A Freedom Fest is it's all about the Second Amendment. And so we had liberals and conservatives. We had moderates. We had straight. We had gay. I don't know that we had any Muslims. I know we had Christians. I believe we had some who were Jewish. I don't remember. I don't recall exactly, but I know we had atheists. I know that. I know we had some agnostics. I know that was there. But we had people of differing perspectives. And, we all talked about it. We all shared our perspective. But in this particular case, we all shared the same perspective when it came to the Second Amendment. And it made for good conversations. You know what I mean? Difference makes for good conversations. Once again, never just listen to people who think like you. Anyway, now this was an incident that took place that's not getting a whole lot of coverage nationally, but in the gun rights community in particular, in the conservative community, this story is actually getting some attention, and I think it needs to, because while it is a shooting, and no, I don't believe it counts as a mass shooting. I don't know if it counts as a mass shooting, but it does have ties, or at least potential ties, into what happened, the beginning of the war, the fight, Operation Epic Fury. This being reported by the folks over at the Washington Free Beacon. Suspect in Austin shooting wore Property of Allah sweatshirt, Iranian flag shirt, reports. It says here, the suspected gunman who killed 2 and wounded 14 others Sunday morning in a shooting in Austin, Texas, wore a sweatshirt that read Property of Allah and a shirt bearing the Iranian flag. The Associated Press reported, says here, New York Post added soon after, the authorities found a Quran in the suspect's car, while CBS News reported Sunday evening that the Iranian flag and photos of regime leaders were found in the suspect's apartment. And there we go. There's the T-shirt, Property of Allah. It says here, law enforcement identified the suspect as 53-year-old, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name, a naturalized U.S. citizen born in Senegal. Fox News reported that according to federal officials, this gentleman became a citizen in 2013 under the Obama administration. While authorities have said it's too early to announce a motive, FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force is investigating the shooting, which took place at a bar near the University of Texas campus, as a possible act of terror. So this is potentially an act of terrorism, and likely it is a lone wolf attack. In other words, someone saw what happened. They saw what the United States was doing to Iran, and he decided that, well, if you're going to attack a Muslim nation, then in the name of Allah, I will attack you. And that's pretty much, I think, what they're believing happened. I can tell you right now, there is a very, very real concern about not just other lone wolf actors, but there is a major concern about the potential for even state-funded or state-organized attacks, sleeper cells here in the United States. Let's keep in mind, about 20 million people just walked across our southern border over the last 20 years. Over the last 4 years. We have no idea who they are. We have no idea where they came from. We know that there were a bunch of people who came and they just got let in, and then we know there's about almost 2 million known gotaways, meaning we saw them, we didn't get a chance to engage them or to screen them or to do anything with them. And that doesn't even include the unknown gotaways, the ones who are bringing fentanyl into the United States, the ones who are bringing drugs in the United States, the ones who, anyway, there's a whole bunch of people that we don't even know of that got into the United States. If we're talking 20 million people, right? If 1% of them happen to be terrorists, what are we talking? 20,000 terrorists here in the United States? What if 1% 10,000 terrorists here in the United States? How many terrorists did it take to pull off 9/11? Less than a dozen? I mean, that's what we are dealing with here. Those are the potential risks. So I was hearing someone say earlier, one of the things you need to be that whole concept of see something, say something. Yeah, that's a real thing. And by the way, we're not looking at people of Middle Eastern descent. Because I'm going to tell you what, there are a lot of leftists who are working with some of these folks because you know what? They don't care about it. They may not care about Islam, but they want to see regime change here. They want to see America fall. So there's a whole bunch of leftists that you need to look out for. So don't just think, oh, well, all I got to do is watch out for someone who might be from the Middle East. No. You need to keep an eye out. Any suspicious behavior, I don't care if they're white, black, Chinese, Asian. I don't care if they're from Ireland or they're from Great Britain or they're from South Africa or they're from Haiti or they're from Canada. Watch out for them sneaky Canadians. You just need to be paying attention. If you see something suspicious, say something. Once again, vitally important. Please make sure you're paying attention to that. Please, because I think eventually we are going to start to see some of these things happening, and it is something to definitely be on the lookout for, because I believe that's the really only chance that's really the only chance they have at this point. I mean, we've done such an effective job of cutting down their ability to attack us militarily. Sleeper cells and lone wolf attacks is really, those are the only shots they got. And anyway, just thought I should share that. All right, folks, that now brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your hog holster today. All right, this first one here, well, you've probably seen this comedian before, but he was just talking a little bit about how interesting he found it, how he heard about the attacks that had taken place, and the mood that it put him in.
Relaxing day. Oh my God. I spent my entire day just refreshing my feed, like, show me, I want to see something else blow up. I need to see something else. It's when I flew here to King of Prussia and then I came to this building and we did a couple shows last night and they were great shows, but I just felt that I was missing my family, just kind of a little sad, and then boom, I was like fucking invigorated, that feeling. As soon as I saw that they bombed Iran, I was like, fuck. You can really do anything in this world. The possibilities are endless. Unbelievable. Unbelievable to watch the Democrats not know how to disagree with this. They're like, look, okay, no, fuck. That was, all right, that was good, but we're not supposed to do that anymore, because right under the Democrats, that's how they ran the military. Like, well, just hands off. Oh, they invaded Ukraine. Give them send them a couple helmets. And they were so, who's an ally of Russia that's part of this whole Ukraine thing? Iran. So we blew them up, and so that helps Ukraine. And if you explain that to a Democrat, they'll kill themselves. Because I think one thing I saw today is there's all these videos from Iran of Persian women and their families helping them take off their burqas and their hijabs and everything like that. And I watched that, I go, oh my goodness, can we do that with Ilhan Omar? We need a free Ilhan Omar from the Iranian regime.
Dude, she does not want to be freed from the Iranian regime. Not at all. But, one of the other things to note is that, there are every president, 7 presidents before Donald Trump, and some were Republican, some were Democrat, but all of them really had the opportunity and they had legitimate reasons to take decisive action against Iran, against their leadership, against the folks who were basically causing havoc and funding all of the terrorism throughout the Middle East. And they didn't. And Donald Trump decided to do it. And some might say that's because, well, Donald Trump is kind of gangster.
President Trump is acting like an international gangster.
Keep it gangster, dog. Keep it gangster. Keep it gangster, dog. Keep it gangster. Keep it gangster, dog. Keep it gangster. Keep it.
Yo, we gotta stop. Okay.
We do. We gotta stop. For those of you who are just listening, they had, if you've probably seen the TikTok trend or the AI trend where you put in an image of somebody and they do that little gangster walk. Well, someone did that with Donald Trump, and so they had Donald Trump there doing a little gangster walk. It was quite hilarious. Quite hilarious. All right, these last few parting shots are going to come to you via the I didn't even say we were doing parting shots, did I? Oh no, I did. Well, anyway, whether or not I did, these are parting shots brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com, use discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. All right, moving right along. These are all brought to you by the Babylon Bee, fake news that you can trust. This first one here. Says here, Mom Donnie vows to retaliate against Bernie's kosher delicatessen. Ooh, wow. Okay. Okay, well, I guess he's going to do his local thing. And here's another one. British citizens politely ask if they can be liberated from radical Islam. Ooh, well, there you go. And then finally, Hillary says she only recalls meeting Epstein that one time when she murdered him. Well, because we all know Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. At least that's what the memes say. All right. Before we get into doing our final shout outs, I want to just give a couple of recognitions or just say a hello. Carrie noted. Now, Carrie is she is a mother of an individual that's currently serving in the military. So she says, tough when it's our children there, but Understand it's necessary. I know many are not excited, but some of us are worried also. And yes, by the way, if you are someone who prays, please take some time. Pray for those who are in service. Pray for their safety. Pray for this conflict to end swiftly and decisively in the favor of the American people and the Iranian people, of the Iranian, Israeli, and American Israeli. That was easy for me to say. Iranian people as well, because the Iranian people are as interested in freedom as we are here in the United States. So make sure you say a few prayers for them. She says, sometimes joking about it makes it easier. Sometimes it's harder. Checking out. Thanks for all that you do. Carrie, thank you for all that you do. Thank you so much for chiming in. And that's going to be it for today's program. Please make sure to visit our sponsors, Hitman Industries, rifle and pistol caliber barrels, available for you to purchase at any length at hitmanindustries.net. The California Republican Assembly, the conscience of the Republican Party. Learn more about how you can help them take back California at cragop.org. And then we've got the best in concealed carry tactical holsters available on the market at hogholsters.com. That's HAWGholsters.com, helping Americans wear guns. And then finally, the place where you can find all things tactical except the gun. That would be at uscombatgear.com. All right, folks, that's going to be it for today's program. We once again appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Taco Tuesday. Till then, y'all have fun. Stay safe. We'll see y'all mañana.